Now, of course, Richard Dawkins Foundation, the Atheist Atrocities Fallacy, Hitler, Stalin, and Pol Pot. Now, watch the little clever word game this guy plays. Okay, so he's going to talk about Hitler, Stalin, and Pol Pot. And he says here, Hitler was a Christian. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, fine. I will do a separate show on that entire story. But notice, okay, I would like to attend to each of these three homicidal stooges, not atheists, not socialists, Stalin, Pol Pot, and Hitler. Now, again, I don't think Hitler was an atheist. Hitler was a socialist for sure, who are constantly trotted out to defend a religious worldview. I will lend Hitler the most time. Now, why doesn't he want to spend time on the two atheists? You know, and why doesn't he have Mao? Mao killed a lot more people than Pol Pot. As the claim he was an atheist represents the most egregious violation of the truth, because this is the only drum he can bang to try to say you're wrong. Hitler wasn't an atheist. And of course, he goes, Hitler was a Christian. We will discuss that another day. But we can believe anything Hitler says, of course. Thaddeus, before we go on, so now I'm going to get to the part where atheists were slaughtering Christians in the name of atheism.
So before we get on, he calls that this a fallacy, that Christians say that atheism is bad because of atheist dictators. Well, actually, generally, Christians only bring this up when the atheist is like, Christianity is bad because of the Crusades, or religion is bad because it leads to all violence. Almost all violence in the entire history of the world is caused by religions of one form or another. And then you say, well, let's look at history and see what it actually says, and then point out all these horrible atheist regimes that did horrible things, and then they're like, well, those don't count, and I'm still right. So it's only a fallacy, and he's right, it is a fallacy. If someone says that atheism is false because Stalin was a nasty person, well, that's a fallacy, but that's not usually why it's brought up. And Dawkins himself likes to push this narrative that religion's bad because it leads to violence. But violence done by atheists in the name of atheism, often in many cases, as we'll see, that doesn't count. That doesn't prove that atheism is bad. It only works if it's Christianity, and generally it's always there's only three things they ever can point to anyway. It's the Crusades, or the Inquisition, or witch trials.
Yeah, well, let's have a look here. You see, notice he says here, shouldn't atheists present a believer with the crimes committed by the Holy See of the Inquisitions, the Crusades, and other faith-wielding misanthropes? They will often hear the reply, well, what about Stalin, Pol Pot, and Hitler? They were atheists and they killed millions. Oh boy, it looks like we just have this little story going. So guys, we're going to see these regimes, by definition, were atheist. Right? Socialism is by definition atheist. And we're going to be having a lot of fun with this. So yeah,
and he's right that's not a valid reply if you're saying that we're not responsible for our atrocities because you have atrocities. But he needs to take responsibility for his own atrocities if he's going to advance this argument that something is false because of things done in its name.
Also, if we've got the dictum, if you've got the Ten Commandments, and you've got the commandment that says, thou shalt not murder, then we have a standard that we can hold that states that you have violated the standard, you've violated the rule. Where in atheism is the authority? Who holds the authority? That states, thou shalt not murder. Where is this absolute rule? Where's this authority? Where's this sublime eternal authority? They do not believe in any such thing. So where does atheism forbid murder?
And maybe that's the real reason why violence done by Christians counts, is because Christianity is against violence. Violence done by atheists doesn't count because there's nothing in atheism to say that's wrong. So those people aren't being hypocritical. So therefore, it's all fine.
Yeah, no, agreed. So let's look at the atheist de-Christianization of France, known popularly as the French Revolution. On September 2, 1792, at Carme prison in Paris, over 100 Catholic priests were jailed within an old monastery. Their crime? Refusing to forsake their church for the new secular republic. A vicious mob stormed the prison and slaughtered 115 priests. That bloodbath was just one of several, remembered today as the September massacres, when over 1,000 victims perished. Now these people were killed because they refused to become secular. In other words, they were killed by atheists, because atheism was a requirement under this new government France had to be de-Christianized, and those who refused to renounce their Christianity were ordered to be killed on sight. They killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the name of reason and in the name of atheism. So the atheist purge. These atrocities were part of an escalating campaign of violence known as Dechristianization, by which atheists sought to purge religion, meaning the Catholic Church and Christian religion, from France. Now, atheists like Pierre Chaumet and Jacques Hébert argued that these atrocities, this murder, this killing, was necessary so that reason would triumph over superstition and fanaticism. Right? So atheists, like these atheists, said that they had to murder. I think the total count is, actually I've discovered within, I have the resource, I didn't put it in yet because I just got the book, but they killed over 250,000 people in the name of reason. Atheists killed over 250,000 people, in the name of atheism, to advance the atheist cause, in the name of reason. To wipe out superstition and fanaticism, they had to kill hundreds of thousands of people. So yeah, that is your thoughts before I go on.
Yeah, Anna said this is what should be taught in schools, and I actually went to Christian schools as a child, and we learned about the French Revolution, but there was never any hint that it was motivated, that the violence was motivated by, reason, that it was motivated by getting rid of Christianity. There was no teaching about there being a religious aspect to this, and that's in a Christian school, not even in a secular school.
Yeah.
So this is this information is just not well known at all.
Yeah. Now, in their eyes, churches were weeds in need of plowing so that more enlightened ideas could grow. Crosses were seized from altars. Bells were plundered and melted down for the war effort. Even the calendar was changed. I believe the Muslims did that too, and so did the Soviets in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Even the calendar was changed from a 7-day week to a 10-day week, removing Sundays so that there would not be a time to worship or any association of the day with Sunday. And since secularists no longer wanted to base their dating system around the birth of Jesus, they reset the count and based it upon the birth of their revolution. Islam did that too, but just so by the way. And of course, the Soviets also removed Sunday. Right, so let's have a look here. Now, Robespierre, then of course, what's happened within socialist governments when they force atheism upon the population? AFI, and these numbers obviously come directly from, I just made them up. Or maybe I got them from very, very, very long hours of research from numerous books. But, so, now the worship of reason.